Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praise to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth, so we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, as we look at the events that are happening today, we've heard for many, many years that we are in the last days. We are in the last days. This is the last generation. But what is happening now that is making previous, times any different? What is separating the events of today from the events of the past? I'm sure that people that lived during the First World War, Second World War, thought that they were fulfilling final day prophecies, end day prophecies. What things are transpiring today that makes what's going on now any different than what's happened before? See, now you can see what's going on is that there's two tracks as far as prophecy is concerned. Before, when we were not awakened, everyone, for the vast majority, of the world, was following the breakdown of the Catholic Church, of the Christian Church, and they pretty much were able to go around and give their breakdown of everything, and no one had an alternative. Pretty much everyone was stuck reading the books that they've approved, and no one questioned their authority. See, now the difference is that the Most High has awakened his people who are now giving an alternative to the lies of the church. The churches are still pushing the same fear tactics that they've always pushed. And now we can see that the churches are lying, but we can also see many of the people that look just like us that are affiliated with these churches that are doing pretty much the exact same thing. Okay? So now you're starting to see a difference. You can start to see a difference between what's going on with these churches and what's going on with the ones who have been awakened here at the end. And we're going to read just a little bit from the Book of Enoch. See, the whole thing of these churches hiding all this information is key. As long as they were able to hide all the information, they've been able to just give us the same breakdowns, and no one ever gives any alternative. But as you can see, the churches have no answers to anything. Once the Most High has awakened us and starts giving us more information, more understanding, you can start to see that the churches have less and less understanding, and that they're more concerned with just hiding information. Every day I'm watching all these videos coming out about the hollow earth, the information about the hollow earth. These books that have been published and written concerning the knowledge of, Admiral Byrd going into the hollow earth. How many people have these books, especially many high-ranking officials and military, walks of life have these kinds of books and have they have them in colleges. They have all this information, but they hide it from the layman. They hide it from us, but they disseminate this information between each other. You start talking about these um, satellites that are up in the sky that are just, we didn't put them there, but they've been here watching us. They're watching us, and they've been there for a very long time, just monitoring the things that we're doing here. You start to realize that, like, after Nagasaki, the United States dropped the bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, but that was the beginning of a lot of the UFO activity, because the people in the hollow earth were then very concerned with what was going on here on the top, on the surface, because it's going to affect the inside of the earth. You start to see there's all these different alternatives, there's all this other information. You start to realize that there have been great societies that have been destroyed by floods over and over again. The flood stories all over the place. You start to see how the world is has just built on top of other great societies. And that they've just never really explained anything. They just cover it up and keep it moving. They want to make it seem as if the what they've accomplished here is the epitome of man. It's the top. It's the best. It's the best it's ever going to be. And that anything before them was pretty much just everyone was just backwards, right? So now their breakdown of prophecy, is the same because they want to put themselves up into these high positions, of knowledge and understanding as far as science and math and is concerned, but they also want to portray themselves as far as religion, and that they're the moral authority and everything else. But now, all that is starting to be taken down. But we're going to take a look at just a little bit of the Book of Enoch, which is going to show you where we are in prophecy. It's going to show you why we are really in the last days and the last times, and that when you start to actually take the information, this is part of Enoch, chapter 104, the Book of Enoch, from the Sefer, and you start to just apply it to what you're seeing today, you're going to see prophecy jumping off the pages. And this is something that is really important that we continue to do. On top of getting the other information, the new information, we still need to go into these other books, remind ourselves, break down prophecy, make the dots connect in order for people to see. Okay, so we're going to take a look here. I just wanted to show you where I'm getting this from. The Book of Enoch, chapter 104. Okay, and this is out of the Sefer. All right, and we're going to start a little bit like halfway through verse 3, where it says, "You shall not be found like sinners, and eternal condemnation shall be far from you, so long as the world exists. And now fear not, righteous, when you see sinners flourishing and prosperous in their ways. Be not associates with them, but keep yourselves at a distance from their oppression. Be you associated with the hosts of heaven." Okay, and that's really important. We see how these other nations are still prospering. You still see how they're having a great time. You still see how the Arabs are still making all this money off of oil. You start seeing how all the Europeans are still making all this money. You start seeing how the Americans are still making all this money as far as their country is concerned. You see all these other countries are still prospering, because they still have the lands, they still have the resources and everything like that. And it's easy to kind of get down and get a little depressed because it's like, how long, Father? How long do they get to continue to enjoy our resources? How long do they continue to prosper? And then what do? They ignore us and they ignore the things that we have to suffer through. And they've been ignoring our suffering for the last few hundred years. And like I said, it all goes back to Revelation 11. And when we're dead in the streets for 3.5 days, 350 years, and they're just enjoying themselves, correct? And that's what you're seeing going on right here. Again, be not associates with them, but keep yourselves at a distance from their oppression. Be you associated with the host of heaven. See, this is a great time for us to, you see how the churches are still prospering. You see how they put Kanye West out there, and he was talking about Ish and how great they are as business, and how he's jealous of all the great things that they're able to do and how they prosper. And he wants to be like them. And see, that goes against what you saw or you see here in the Book of Enoch. It's telling us to not be associated with that. And it was kind of funny how they tried to pretty much really diminish all the things that Kanye was saying, because now all of a sudden he went and married a Jewish woman. And it's funny because the hypocrisy is just pretty hilarious. They're like, oh, well, everything that he said is just not true because, he went out and he married a Jewish woman. And, he was saying all these things with, about Jewish people. It's like, dude, who cares? Just because, I laugh because is that not what just because they sleep, he wants to sleep with a Jewish woman. That doesn't mean anything. How many so-called white men who were racist against our people slept with our women? Did that, did that change anything? Did that change their point of view of anything? No. I says, he was 12 years a slave when he had married one of the black women, whatever else, but he was still racist to all to the slaves. Doesn't change their mentality just because of who they sleep with, you know. But they try to use that like, oh well, everything he said doesn't mean anything. What is that the same thing for you guys? Then now all of a sudden, the stuff that you say, the stuff that you do, does that mean like all of a sudden now you're not racist because you decided to rape our women in slavery? No, you're still racist. You still hated our people, but you would still sleep with our women. So like I said, that has nothing to do with your mindset, with the way you think. Okay, but but those are the kinds of games that they play, trying to diminish the things that are being said by these kinds of actions, and it all seems very orchestrated anyways. Okay, but again, let's see here. Be not associates with them, but keep yourselves at a distance from their oppression. Be you associated with the host of heaven. And that's what we're doing right now. We're spending more time chasing after the Father, chasing after the Mother, chasing after, our angels, our spirits, right? Our cosmic brethren, trying to get a better understanding, trying to learn how to pray better, trying to learn how to pray the correct way, trying to learn how to, make the elements work for us once again. So instead of like chasing after their money, their status, we're chasing after the Father and the things that we were promised in the beginning. Okay? So be you associated with the host of heaven. You sinners, okay, say all our transgressions shall not be taken account of and be recorded, but all your transgressions shall be recorded daily. And be assured by me that light and darkness, day and night, behold, all your transgressions be not empty. Okay, and that's the thing. This is a huge part of prophecy. They've always said that Jesus forgives, my sins have been washed away. I don't have to pay for anything. This is a huge part of prophecy, and see, that's something that they really shy away from even talking about. That's something they don't even want to have a discussion about, and that is a huge part of prophecy. And we, before we were not awakened, and we were part of the church, many of us were just like, okay, we'll just let bygones be bygones. We'll pray for our enemies. We'll work things out. Let's just move forward and things like that, because it wasn't the end. It wasn't time for us to be awakened. Okay, this is all part of prophecy. This all shows you where we're at the end. Now at the end, many of these events that have been hidden are now coming out. They're putting them in movies. They're putting information out. In books. They're in older books. They're in new books. They're in movies. They're in TV shows. Many of their events, many of the things that they've done to us that we were not even aware of before are now coming out, because this shows you the difference between World War One, World War Two, other horrible times, and now, and how what we're seeing, the events that are taking place now are fulfilling prophecy. Okay, let's see here. Be not impious in your thoughts. Lie not. Surrender not the word of uprightness. Lie not against the word of the holy. And El Elohim. Glorify not your idols. For all your lying and all your impiety is not for righteousness, but for great crime. And see, you guys are glorifying your idols even to today. You're still glorifying Cesare Borgia, still glorifying your popes, still glorifying your presidents, still glorifying your armies, still glorifying, the good old days of the past and the things that you've done to us. Those are all great crimes against the Most High and his people, and they're going to have to be paid for. Verse 7, now will I point out a mystery. Many sinners shall turn and transgress against the word of uprightness. And see, this is a mystery. You guys don't read the Bible. You don't read Scripture. There's many books that you don't even have not even been exposed to that have many of the truths and that are happening. Many of the prophecies that are being fulfilled, and it's going to go over your head because you're going to ignore it because you're going to act like, oh, my pastor didn't, it hasn't read it. My church doesn't accept it. So therefore, this has nothing to do with me. But if you just look at the information and you look at the events that are happening today, you're going to see how they're being fulfilled point by point. Okay? Let's see here. It says, they shall speak evil things. They shall utter falsehood and create a great creation and compose writings in their own words. That's exactly what you guys have done. You made a whole religion. You've composed writings in your own words. You've said these are the 66 books. These are the only books you can read. Anything else outside of what we've approved, that has nothing to do with the Most High. But as you can tell right here in the Book of Enoch, this stuff goes exactly with what's happening today. But you only want to talk about what your church. It's funny how a lot of these people will talk about the church. I was cracking up, I did like the last live, we were talking about, off grid, and they were talking about the Catholic Church and how, they rule the world. But I'm like, yes, but that's your church too. And they're always like, not my church, not my church. My church is different. Your church is all under that umbrella of the Catholic Church. No different. Okay? But when they shall write all my words correctly in their own languages, they shall neither change or diminish them, but shall write them all correctly, all which from the first I have uttered concerning them. So you start putting everything together, then all the different pieces are going to come together, and it's going to make sense. Then the story is going to come together, and then you're going to see the error of your ways. But as long as you are you're not willing to get all, here a little, there a little, put the pieces together, you're always going to be lost. Okay? Another mystery, okay? And there's another mystery right here. So those are books that you guys that have been hidden from you. Okay? Another mystery, also I point out, to the righteous and the wise shall be given writings of joy, of integrity, and of great wisdom. To them shall writings be given, in which they shall believe, and in which they shall rejoice. And all the righteous shall be rewarded. Okay, who from these shall acquire the knowledge of every upright path? In those days, says Yahweh, they shall call to the children of the earth and make them listen to their wisdom. Show them that you are their leaders. So you're going to know who the leaders are by the ones who are putting all this information together. And it's not something like you're not going to get this information going to, their Bible colleges and things like that. Because even if you go to their colleges, you're still going to be stuck on reading the books that they've approved. These ones here, these ones are going to be at the end, the righteous ones. We're going to be given great wisdom and information and integrity because the Most High is going to be giving them other information, and it's all going to come together. It's all going to make sense, and it's going to open up knowledge to all the upright paths. So a lot of this end days is about information and understanding, about giving an information and understanding. The churches are still fighting to keep the vast majority of the world in darkness and keep them away from reading and studying and keep them away from, getting this new information. But it's showing you here at the end, to them shall writings be given, in which they shall believe, and in which they shall rejoice, and all the righteous shall be rewarded. Who from these shall acquire the knowledge of every upright path? In those days, says Yahweh, they shall call to the children of the earth and make them listen to their wisdom. Show them that you are their leaders. And that's all about knowledge, understanding, but it's all about who the Most High calls. Not about who man calls, but it's about who the Most High calls. So there you get a chance to kind of see how we know that we're in the last days, the final times, and everything else, because of all the knowledge and understanding that the Most High is releasing, and how the churches have been, complicit with keeping all this information from men. And this, like I said, this would be from the Book of Enoch, and this would be before the Bible was even, brought together. The book Enoch was given all this downloaded all this information beforehand. He walked with the Most High. Very little information is in the Bible concerning Enoch. That's why you have to go to. I mean, but you're trying to say that if the Most High had him walk with him, and release all this information to him, you don't think that he would have his own books and all his own information? And who is the only group that says that, who's hidden all this information from you? The churches. So now we're at the end, and the Most High is releasing it. So you do with it as you know what you will. But this is just showing you where we are as far as prophecy is concerned. All praise the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.